The next group arose in the 20s through the 50s, 1920s through 1950s, and these were the British functionalists. And functionalism states that societies can be explained in terms of the functions they performed, how ideas and actions contribute to the well-being and preservation of the culture. And that's part of what I was alluding to in Baraka when we talked about the chicks and how they kept going from the chicks being sorted to the humans going through the subway turnstiles. And there was like a connection between our view of food and our view of people. And others would look at technology. They would say your tool use or your technology is going to tell us how evolved or how advanced your culture is. And so cultures are based on the functions they perform. And each culture is going to have kind of like its own temperament or specialization or stereotype that we would put with them. So let's do a quick stereotype survey. I'm more familiar with like European stereotypes, but we live on the Pacific Rim, so we also have Asian stereotypes as well. So what would be some stereotypes we have as cultures? And I'm asking this from a British functionalist perspective. Let me prime the pump a little. Part of our stereotypes about Germans is that they are very sophisticated and have advanced engineering. And so there is a premium on German, especially automobiles, because just the precision and performance of brands like BMW, Mercedes, I mean, they have earned a reputation in the world. But when we think of Italians, even though Italians make some of the finest cars in the world, right? That's usually not what Italians are known for. What would we think more in terms of Italian cultural accomplishments?
Pasta.
Yes, food, cuisine. Same with the French, right? We're not thinking so much of the French as brilliant scientists or mathematicians or engineers, but we certainly would respect them as artists, as chefs, in those realms. And I just think that's super interesting when you start thinking about cultures in those terms of what they do, what they excel at, and then maybe where they're found a little wanting. Okay. And that kind of ties back into that whole geographical determinism thing, where you tend to find more northerly climes, the people are more industrious in that sense of like engineering, productivity, industry. But as you get further to the south, closer to the equator, it seems like they're more romantic, more given to poetry, art, cuisine, leisure, pleasure. And I know those are stereotypes and there's exceptions, but the reason they're stereotypes is because it's generally true. Onward. Malinowski, M-A-L-I-N-O-W-S-K-I, Malinowski, believed the main purpose of culture was to serve the biological and psychological needs of its members. He didn't believe we had any inborn instincts, so he's kind of following the John Locke tabula rasa blank slate model, not the Noam Chomsky universal grammar model. But no inborn instincts. All survival skills must be taught or learned. Tools we use to meet needs directly, but we use things like religion to meet needs indirectly. So religion deals with like psychological, emotional, moral needs, but tools like hammers, shovels, saws, knives, forks deal with physiological needs directly. Structural functionalism. So this is a variation of functionalism. It looks at what maintains the structure of a group. And here we see the first seeds of critical race theory. So this is the question critical race theorists are asking. It's like, what is holding the group together? Is it an ideology? Is it a belief? Is it fear? Is it a common goal? Is it a common culture? Is it a common religion? What is it that's holding the group together? And we could take our school as an example, as a subgroup. You could say what's holding our school together is the mission statement. That is like the hub or the core that all the disciplines, all the majors, all the faculty and staff and students should be orbiting around, this core central idea that we believe in a God, we believe he's revealed his will through his scriptures, we believe he's reconciled us with his son, and then everything else radiates out of that Christian or theistic worldview. But that is what is the structure holding us together. For other people, it may be profits, or it may be advancements in technology. It might be in service. There's lots of different things that could hold a group together. Radcliffe Brown links society to a biological organism, and he saw each member of society as an interdependent part of the whole. And this is Radcliffe Brown. And when I was reading this part in the book, I couldn't help but think of the Apostle Paul and how he described the church, how we're one body with many members. Well, that's how Radcliffe Brown saw society or culture. We're one culture or one society, but there's many members with many different functions. Some we see as noble and beautiful and we put on display, others not so much, kind of the messy bits or parts that we kind of like to keep behind closed doors or keep under wraps. But all of them are essential and necessary for the functioning of the body or organism, in this case, society.